2009 Red Arrows. The team this year is led by Wing Commander Jace Hawker at the front. He's in his third year as team leader. Formerly flew the Tornado GR1 and 4. But he's also been an instructor on the Tucano at RAF Linton on Ouse. He's got 2 girls, just approaching their teens, so big trouble for him. He's a keen windsurfer and kite surfer, and he also plays the piano. Although as far as we can tell on the team, he only knows how to play Angels by Robbie Williams. So now as they fly this left-hand bend at about 4G in a shape called 9 Arrow. As the smoke comes on, keep your eyes as Reds 8 and 9 roll back and form Fred formation. Yes, Fred.
Wow, Jimmy.
And on the smoke off call, 8 and 9 roll back and form Fred. It's short for Feathered Arrow. Fred's much easier for a commentator like me though. So as they come left, they pull about 4G round this turn. Jace calls them now into Big Vixen. Sitting just to the right of Jace at the front is Red 2, Flight Lieutenant Zane Sennett. Zane's one of the 3 first-year pilots on the team this year, and he's the second best looking man on the team, after me of course. Thank you for the whistle. Zane's a Harrier GR7 pilot by trade, and he was brought up at Cranley School in near Guildford in Surrey. Like all Harrier pilots, Zane's seen an awful lot of operational service in Afghanistan, where the main job for ground attack pilots now is to support British and coalition troops out there. Ladies and gentlemen, in Big Vixen, a 4G turn called the Big Vixen Bend. And you hear Jace call the team into Phoenix formation. This is our widest formation here, and there's some 300 feet between the 2 outside aircraft. So when Jace rolls left and right, the aircraft on the outside of the formation not only have to roll with him, but they've got to pitch and change power setting quite significantly. It's no mean feat to maintain that perfect formation.
Right. Bang. Right. Bang. Cut off.
In red, white and blue, the Phoenix Bend. Sitting just to the left of Jace and slightly above him as we look at them is Red 3, Flight Lieutenant Dave Montenegro. Jace has called the team into Diamond. So Monty Red 3 is the second of the 3 first-year pilots. He was born in Bogota, Colombia, before coming back to the UK, where he grew up in Kent. He's got a degree in politics and theology. Well done, Monty. And he also flew the Tornado F3 and the Hawk as a flying instructor before he joined the team. Monty's a keen cricketer, footballer, and he loves a bit of amateur tree surgery, believe it or not. So the iconic Diamond 9 formation here in a 4G turn, the Red Arrows. All the pilots take their reference from the lead aircraft alone, so that's Jace at the front. That means they only get fleeting glances of their wingmen around them. And as you can imagine, there's quite a lot of trust required. So we spent 6 months over the winter period getting that trust up. Jace has called the team into Concorde formation now. That's one of my favourites. So even if the real Concorde can't fly anymore, we can still do it. And everybody loved Concorde. As the team's photo chase pilot, I'm lucky enough to be able to be flying around the formation while they fly in this shape. And there are times where I could almost believe I'm flying next to the real thing. So at 4G, with the smoke on, the Concorde Bend. So you remember I said that all the pilots look to Jace, the leader, for their reference. On a bumpy day then, like today, some of the pilots towards the rear of the formation hardly ever get a glance of their reference. That's why we put the more experienced pilots in those difficult, wide and further back formations. That's Red 8, Duffy, calling for the smoke to go off as they turn in towards us in Apollo formation. Apollo is named after the Apollo lunar landing missions of the late 60s. And in your mind's eye, as this comes side onto us, you'll probably be able to see the lunar landing craft shape.
Tightening.
So tightening into a 4G turn in Apollo. Jace is flying the flat show today because the cloud seems to have come down a little bit. If we can just get some of this weather out to the right-hand side, we might be able to go full a bit later on. Jace calls the team into Typhoon. Typhoon is the Royal Air Force's newest and most advanced fighter aircraft, and he's going to be displaying later on here today, Scott Locker and the pilot. As we look at the formation then, the lowest man on the far back right-hand side is Red 4, Flight Lieutenant Dave Davis, known as Horse, but I'm not going to tell you why. Horse is the third of the 3 first-year pilots on the team this year, a former Tornado F3 pilot and instructor on the Hawk at RAF Valley, and in fact last year he was the Hawk solo display pilot, so you may well have seen him before. On the other side of the formation, the lowest man as we look at them is Red 5, Flight Lieutenant Simon Ray, or Kermit. At the moment, Kermit's positioning in kite formation, and as you can see, it looks like a kite. Kermit's one of 2 New Zealand pilots on the team, joined the Royal New Zealand Air Force in 1995, where he went to fly the Skyhawk in Australia and New Zealand. Now fortunately, he speaks both Kiwi and Australian perfectly. However, it's been a different job trying to teach him English. Ladies and gentlemen, the kite bend.
Coming back now.
So you can probably notice that Jace is emphasising certain syllables in his commands to the pilots. There's a good reason for that. In these big, wide and long formations, the pilots need to anticipate their control inputs to match the leaders. By emphasising the syllables, the pilots can anticipate the control inputs they require to maintain a perfect position. If they don't do that, then the formation will be wallowy and laggy, and that will spoil the spectacle for us on the ground. So as they come in towards us, we'll see how that works.
Holding the bank. Now tightening.
And on the ning of tightening, all the boys squeeze back on the control column and hold a 4G turn in Fred. Jace has called the team into Chevron now, as we draw towards the end of the first half of the show. We were in France last weekend, and the French told me that this looks like the Citroën symbol. Well, that's definitely not cool enough for the Red Arrows, so we're going to keep calling it Chevron. All the pilots on the team have served as frontline fast jet pilots before joining. That's one of the prerequisites. And like most people in the Royal Air Force of today, they've all seen operational service in either Afghanistan or Iraq. The next manoeuvre is 9 Arrow. Always good on the radio.
Negative. Out. Rolling. Out. 6 starting flat. 2.5 left. 6 flat. 2.5 left. 5, turning 30-degree pitches.
So you hear Jace talking to Synchro Leader there as they plan to start the second half of the show. So you've seen all the big graceful formation manoeuvres, and what we're going to do now is split the formation. The front 5, the first 5 Reds 1 to 5, are known as Enid, after Enid Blyton's famous 5. The back 4 are known as Jippo. Jippo, 6 to 9, are led by the Synchro pair, Reds 6 and 7. The second half of the show is much more dynamic, so cameras at the ready for this one, as Jippo and Enid swap out. So as they run in towards us for the detonator to start the second half, cameras at the ready. Cameras ready. So with a bit of blue sky coming in from the right hand side, the Synchro pair remain with us as the main formation leaps to the front. On the right hand side is Red 6 Squadron Leader Ben Murphy, known as Baz, Synchro Leader, and on the left is Red 7 Flight Lieutenant Mike Ling, or Lingy. 7 Lingy is the noisiest on the radio, as you heard there. And a Synchro pair running in now for a manoeuvre called the Carousel. So they aggressively fight down to 100 feet and turn in at about 6G. The closure here is 800 miles an hour, and they're going to pass just 100 feet apart. There's really little room for error. On the left, Baz is in his 3rd year on the team as Synchro Leader. He's a former Harrier GR7 pilot. He went to Loughborough Grammar School before doing a degree in geography at the University of Newcastle. And like all the Harrier pilots on the team, he's seen several tours in Afghanistan. Out to the front then, Enid rejoin us for the infinity break. Here we see Red 1 Jace barrel rolling around the wings of the formation, drawing the mathematical symbol for infinity. Back in from the right and left, Synchro rejoin us for opposition barrel rolls, followed by the roller coaster. Out on the left is Red 7, Flight Lieutenant Mike Ling, or Lingy. As I said, the noisiest on the radio in the whole team. He was brought up around Biggin Hill, where he used to watch the Red Arrows display at the Biggin Hill airfairs. That's what inspired him to apply for the team, and now he's made it. Lingy used to fly the Tornado F3, and he's also been a flying instructor on the Tucano at RAF Linton-on-Ouse, teaching future fast jet pilots. 8 and 9 have joined Synchro now, so what we're preparing for is the Jippo Pass. This is a combination of opposition barrel rolls and 4-point rolls. Good camera opportunity here. Let's see if you can get the perfect snap as they all cross.
That feels like it's gone right through.
Is it?
As Synchro remain with us, they're now flying a manoeuvre called the Cyclone to Slingshot. Perfect timing required here and no errors. So Synchro slingshot out to us. Look out to the left-hand side and pick up Red 9, Flight Lieutenant Andrew Keith. On the right-hand side are Enid, stepping down to a formation called the Goose. Red 9, Flight Attendant Keith, or Boomer as he's known, is the second of the 2 Kiwi pilots on the team. Like Kermit, Boomer joined the Royal New Zealand Air Force initially and flew the Skyhawk. He joined the Royal Air Force in 2002 and he too is a Harrier GR7 pilot with several Afghanistan tours under his belt. He's on his 3rd year as the team. He's also the team exec, the one for keeping us all in check. So as Enid disappear off to the left-hand side, eyes out to the front once again as we look to pick up 6, 7 and 8 as they prepare for a manoeuvre called the Vortex. Another good camera opportunity coming up. As we see 7 and 8 barrel roll round 6's smoke trail. Ready with the cameras. That's Baz giving Red 7 Lingy his commands to make sure that they are symmetrical as they fly around this manoeuvre. Pilots flying the jet's max performance around this turn here, probably pulling 6 or 7 G as they descend down to 100 feet for opposition barrel rolls.
Stay.
Out on the left-hand side then, Enid rejoin us as Jace calls them into line astern. This manoeuvre is called the Helix, and as Jace, who's the highest aircraft there, rolls out, Reds 1 to 5 who are stacked down below have to swing out rather like a pendulum to maintain the formation. Although it may not look so, this is a particularly difficult manoeuvre for the pilots to fly. The aircraft we fly, as you may know, is the Hawk T Mark 1, built by BAE Systems. It served the Royal Air Force and many other air forces around the world for almost 30 years now, and anyone who's flown it will tell you it's a fantastic little aeroplane to fly, and I can agree with that. It's very light and manoeuvrable, and when you push it to the edge of the envelope, it's perfect for a flying display like this. The Hawk's powered by the Rolls-Royce Adore engine, named after the Adore River in France. Many Rolls-Royce engines are named after rivers. It served the aircraft for its entire service life, and it's a smashing little engine too, very reliable. So back out on the right-hand side to pick up Jippo as they run in for the corkscrew. Here we see 6 and 7 flying inverted close formation, while 8 and 9 barrel roll around their smoke trails. That was Boomer there saying he was complete. So if you think flying close formation the right way up is hard enough, well, that's a whole different game there. Red 7 earning his pay today. Okay, back out on the right-hand side. Enid, join us for the Python. The weather's improved here, so Jace is able to fly a barrel roll manoeuvre here, smoking red, white and blue. This is flown in leader's benefit formation, a line abreast formation, and slightly more difficult for the guys on the outside. The Red Arrows is a team of some 100 people. We've got 85 hard-working engineers who spent the whole winter in all weathers keeping our aircraft flying while we train, and then they work even harder throughout the summer as we keep the jets ready for the displays. We've got a pretty ardent PR and admin support team that get us to the right place at the right time. And out the front, in his blue suit and green jacket, is Sop, one of our cameramen and also an engineer. Poor old cameramen film the displays in the worst weather. Well done, Sop. On the right-hand side, Jippo rejoin us for mirror wall. Here we see 6 and 7 fly inverted close formation, with 8 and 9 mirroring them underneath.
Rolling.
And as you can hear there, Red 6, Ben Murphy's mastered the art of speaking normally while flying upside down. Back out on the left-hand side then, Enid rejoin us. For most of the show, the pilots have been showing you how they maintain perfect formation. Well, this is something different. What they're going to do now is show you how they break out of formation and rejoin quickly. So watch now from the left-hand side as Enid fly rollbacks. This is one of the most challenging manoeuvres for Enid, and for me one of the most impressive. That's Red 5, Kermit there, screaming complete. Back out to the front then, Jippo join us for their final manoeuvre, the amazing Jippo break. This is a good one for the cameras. 8 and 9, barrel rolling round the smoke trails of 6 and 7. And then rejoining, ready for the break. Cameras ready. Seemingly impossibly close there. Jippo now departing out in front of us. The synchro pair remain with us for one final pass. After the display today, we're off back down to Edinburgh Airport, where we're going to fly out all the jets to Cazaux in southwestern France for another display there tomorrow. This is our 6th display of the year so far, and I'm glad the weather's held out for us. So for the final opposition rolls, Red 6 and 7 join us. So it's with a heavy heart I tell you we're approaching the end of the show. One more flourish though, eyes out to the front as Enid with 8 and 9 join us for the Vixen break. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the Red Arrows and we represent the very best of British.